All right. Hi there. My name is Jessica Crow, and I am the founder of Apogy, and we provide change leadership training, coaching, and consulting. And this is part of our Change Leader Speaker Series. Today, I have with me Ashley and Alicia, and they are co-founders of Exhale Wellness at Work. And I wanted to interview them so you could hear from them about the importance of well-being and wellness in the workplace. So Ashley and Alicia, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Why don't you introduce yourselves and provide a little bit more detail about who you are and what you do?
Well, thanks, Jess. Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I'll begin. I'm Ashley Daidone, and I'm the co-founder alongside my friend Alicia here of Exhale Wellness at Work. And our business really began in the early stages of 2020 during the pandemic. We both are yoga instructors. In fact, Alicia was my yoga teacher trainer back in 2012 when I got certified. And she and I both separately, before we joined forces, were teaching both in studio and to private clients, including businesses and corporations. And when the pandemic happened and the stay-at-home orders went into effect, I began teaching my corporate clients from my home. And it was enormously successful as far as the people that were working from home, because you feel this isolation, and that we really created this stage for being together even though we're apart through yoga.
Yeah.
And so that kind of morphed into our business. Alicia and I joined forces, and we have a live stream yoga studio, and we built this business based on 3 platforms. One is memberships, where we have online and live stream classes and on demand for individuals. We have corporate wellness programs for businesses, and we have lifestyle programs, which include workshops, and including, we are a registered yoga school. So we actually just graduated our first class of teacher trainees, 200 hours. That was my long-winded answer.
No, that was perfect. And actually, fun fact, and I should have mentioned this when I introduced you both. So I actually know you two from the yoga studio that is in our neck of the woods. And I substitute teach now, but was a teacher there as well. And Ashley and Alicia are 2 of my favorite teachers. And so I was there when the pandemic happened and we had to close down, and I saw the innovation and the momentum behind your business while it was sort of in the forming stages. And so I didn't have a front row seat, but I definitely was, in the arena watching you both sort of cultivate and create your business idea and then launch it, and the success that you've had. Alicia, if you want to give more detail around who you are and sort of, your background and your take on Exhale, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So thanks again for having us. So I'm Alicia Ray, and I've been on a wellness journey for my whole life. I think I've come to realize that wellness is just a part of my DNA. And it's funny, when you're inspired by something, or you're really passionate about something, sometimes you have no idea the potential or where it's going to take you. And if somebody had said to me that I would be like running a yoga business with an amazing, I call Ashley boss lady, I wouldn't have been able to visualize that. And then now when I look backwards, I think, yep, this is kind of where we've been moving along the whole time. And so I've been teaching yoga since 2008. And that's always been alongside of whatever I was stepping into with my career. So I do come from more of the beauty wellness industry. I have a long career with Aveda, and I just retired from working with them so that I could focus on Exhale more and involve myself more in marketing and business strategies. So I'm doing some contract work and really just visualizing where Exhale can go next on this wellness journey. And so one of my areas of passion and expertise is Ayurveda, which is sort of like what a lot of people say is like the lifestyle of a yogi. And so I did that just for me, for like ever, was just like, I just want to wake up and take care of myself. And now that we can put this into play through corporate wellness and lifestyle experiences, it's like a dream come true. So I'm excited to be on this journey for sure. And thanks for having us.
Yes, yes. And I'm so glad that we have this chance to talk, because wellness, well-being in the workplace is top of mind for executives, top of mind for employees. I think we're year 3 in the pandemic. we're still feeling that fatigue from the pandemic. We're probably feeling a little Zoom fatigue. We're feeling a lot of things. And I think now the conversation around people's health and wellness, mental, physical, spiritual, all of those things is more, there's more conversation around it in general. I think before, pre-pandemic, it was a topic, but the maybe the ethos was you take care of your own health and wellness. And I think we spend so much time, or I know we spend so much time in the workplace working, that now there's a shift where well-being is an organizational responsibility, because that is where we spend so much of our time. And so I wanted to ask you both about your perspective. Obviously, we're all aligned on this, but I want our listeners, our viewers to hear this. Why is well-being and wellness so important for people who are, well, just in general, but also for people in the workplace specifically? So how does that, what is your take on that?
Want me to take that?
Yeah, go
sure.
for it.
Well, it is so vitally important. It's important for employee engagement. It's important for employee productivity in the workplace. And a lot of employers, I come from the hospitality industry. I was in sales and marketing for the hotel business for over 20 years. And back in the day, I would put my pantyhose on and and go. Can you believe that, Alicia? I know, right? Did you ever see that?
And your shoulder pads.
My shoulder, totally, all about the shoulder pads. And we'd go and go to work, and you'd have your employee cafeteria with really unhealthy foods, causing fatigue, all sorts of things. In the grand scheme of things, we've come a long way. I think most businesses have come a long way, but there's so much more further to go at this point, because it is, there's a study out there that 47% of personal illness and absenteeism in the workplace is due to stress and anxiety.
Absolutely.
And right now we're experiencing, and a lot of employers don't understand that. And so, and not only absenteeism, just by calling in sick, you can be absent by being at work because you're just so fried. And so
that presenteeism or something like that, where you're there, but you're not. Yeah.
Oh, you're like a shell.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's so important. And the employers need to understand that. And especially in this day and age, because no matter whether you accept it or you don't accept it, everyone has some sense of anxiety with regards to this pandemic. And I don't think it's ever going to go back the way it is. Nobody knows. There's a lack of anticipation or not knowing what to anticipate, and having to pivot and change so much. And
so hello again. We got disconnected. My internet went down, and these lovely ladies are back with me, or I'm back with them. They didn't lose their connection. I did. But the question that I had asked before I got disconnected was, why is well-being, why is wellness so important? And Ashley was sharing why it's important in the workplace and studies around stress and how that's impacting everyone. And so it cut you off. If you want to continue and finish the thought, or if you want to pivot and have Alicia, let me know, or just, feel free to run with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think just kind of picking up, and I'll have Alicia kind of tag in here as well. What we were talking about is how far we've come, but how much further we have to go with it. And it's really, especially right now in this day and age with the pandemic and the anxiety and the stress that's been caused through nearly 2 years of going through this pandemic, knowing that things are never really going to go back to completely normal as to what it was. I was talking to my husband the other day about this. It's almost like 9/11, where it's like you can't ever walk your friend to the gate anymore,
right,
without a plane ticket, or so things are changing, and so they change in organizations. And when employers actually recognize that these employees, including themselves as employers, go through this level of stress and this level of anxiety, that it is so important to be able to learn techniques, wellness techniques in the workplace, to be able to breathe, take a moment to just breathe and pause. And you can become so much more of a productive and effective employee, an effective organization. You improve your culture, and you sustain employment within your organization, which is an advantage for the employer, which is why they need to understand their investment is crucial.
Yeah, especially now with the Great Resignation, as it's being coined, people are quitting, and there's a lot of reasons why people are quitting. And one of them is that people want to feel like they are connected to the work that they're doing, that they have purpose, and that the employer cares about them, and well-being is a big part of that, and wellness. And so, Alicia, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I was actually just doing some research for a client the other day about how they could improve culture within the workplace. And it was ironic, but when I was Googling culture in the workplace, I can't tell you how many times wellness was associated with that. And it was incredible because it's sort of like, oh, well, this is our business. But when you're seeing it from a different perspective, inside looking out, I can speak from a leadership perspective. I was in management for a really long time. I worked in an environment where most of my employees were really just starting their careers. They were 19, 20 years old. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know what they want to do with their life. So turnover was just like, it was rampant. It was almost as rampant as COVID. It was like constantly trying to hire, train. And I can remember meeting that with grit and like just going in and super stressed. And then it was like, at some point you kind of get kicked in the butt and you realize I'm not taking care of myself. So I'm probably not doing a very good job taking care of my employees. And even as a yogi, it was sort of like, you have to get a taste of your own medicine. When I started to like put wellness first and like incorporate wellness into the work environment and like start our days with wellness instead of going right into the to-do list, there was a shift. It wasn't like epic in the sense, because this is always going to be like a turnover department. It's just the nature of retail. But it did actually create more sustainability. But more importantly, as a leader, as the person that was at the top of the food chain, I felt better when I went to work. Yeah. And so I want to speak to the leader, to the management team, that this is a gift for you, because if you start taking care of yourself and it's a part of the workplace, it's naturally going to be a gift for your employees. And you're really just kind of like giving yourself the gift, and then they receive the benefit of it as well. So it is a paradigm shift for a lot of leaders and top management.
Yeah, I everything you said resonates with me. And having experienced burnout in the workplace, when you do those things that are right for yourself and take care of your own wellness, you're modeling the behaviors, and you're giving people, in some ways, permission, even though they don't need to ask for it, but you're giving them permission to care for themselves, which you show up, you're more collaborative, you're more creative, your problem solving skills increase. When you're filled with stress and you might not even know it, like you just need to, I think a lot of people on, stress is sort of the default, and they may not even recognize the ways in which they're being impacted and how that's manifesting and showing up. So I love that mindfulness around when you take care of yourself, you're benefiting everybody else in the organization too. So I guess one of the questions I have too is, what are some of the misconceptions around wellness and well-being in the workplace?
Well, I'll dive into that real quick. And that is that we use the word fluff. Like, I think immediately what comes to mind is what's going to get the job done. How does this impact the bottom line? I get that. We all respect that when we're creating projects and movement and change, and we want to be successful. But, wellness and fluff, and how does that actually directly impact the results? And so that is where we have to have that major paradigm shift, that culture and wellness are almost kind of becoming one and the same, and one affects the other and they affect each other. So I think it is that there's this initial idea of, it's just about going to the gym. Like Ashley and I talk about that all the time. This is not a gym membership. Right. We're here to enhance your wellness living. We're a part of that puzzle. We're not the only piece. We're a piece of it. And that's, I think, important for them to realize, is that you can just take a piece. You don't have to do the whole thing. You're not going to do the whole heavy lift here. You're a part of that puzzle.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. I love that. What about you, Ashley? Anything to add?
Yeah, I truly believe that, the fluff also comes from, I think that some of the misconceptions that employers have is that they're offering this as a benefit.
Right.
And I think there needs to be a shift from being a benefit to a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the shift that needs to take place within organizations. They need to condone it. They need to make sure that their employees are taking a break, and it's okay that it's in the middle of the day. And it's okay if you have a project due and I see you on your yoga mat at noon. It's okay, because I know that project's going to be done, and I know it's going to be done even better because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Integrating it into the day versus having it be something that's additive. I love that. Alicia, I took a yoga class from you one time, and you talked about, I think the theme was around change. And you had this, you're like, you can choose to change or you can choose to stay. You probably don't even remember this class, but it was really transformative for me. And maybe this is why I love yoga so much, because it is that mind-body connection, and it makes you think about things off of the mat, which is why having that integrated into your work day and your lifestyle is so valuable. But I wanted to touch on this idea of wellness, well-being, and how it can prepare people, or at least give people put them in a state where they're more receptive to change, where they're more open-minded about what needs to happen, more adaptive. Do you have, any perspective, or with clients that you have, how have you seen a shift in their openness or willingness to change in their own workplace? Have you seen that sort of happen, or any examples there?
I'll let Ashley take this, because this is corporate wellness is like her pillar. This is her bread and butter.
Got it.
Have we seen any examples of that? Is that what you were?
Yeah, like with people that you've not coached, but that clients that you have where they've utilized the lifestyle services that you offer, and have you seen a transformation in them and how they are experiencing their work?
100%. And that's a key question, just for this whole entire process. And when I say process, it's because the process is really important. And we've done a lot of research at Exhale about how to implement a wellness program into one individual corporation. Now, there's so many cookie cutter ideas out there that people offer, either a la carte programs, again, like we talk about the gym membership or a couple yoga classes or, whatever. We have an actual process. And this is what really excites me about wellness at work, because our process is well thought out. And our process starts with a survey. And the survey is designed to measure levels of anxiety and stress and happiness and productivity in the workplace, kind of sort of an employee engagement, but it's very specific to the organization, set on like occupational well-being, physical well-being, all sorts of things. And we do that survey throughout the organization, everyone, including leadership. And then we come back, we measure those levels of stress, and we come up with a customized wellness plan specific to that organization. Because there's, like I said, there's so many programs out there that are, cookie cutter.
One size fits all. Yeah.
One size fits all. Yeah, exactly. And so with that, we provide a wellness, we customize the program for them. We facilitate the program, and then we check in halfway through the program and resurvey them. And then we show the leadership the changes, and we have seen changes, and you see the difference and how the employee, it's just proven results. And that's what employers really want to see, is that metric and be able to see that shift and that change. Yeah.
And that level of engagement. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Alicia.
No, I was just going to say, like, I've been in coaching as my background. And one of the things that was a huge shift for me in my leadership style was this idea of changing the behavior. So you can coach somebody all day long and write them up for being late to work, but you're only speaking to the action. You're not speaking to the behavior. So then when you dive in deeper and you go, what is causing you to constantly be late to work? That's what has to change, is the behavior leading to that result. And it's the same thing here, is that we have to change the behavior of people understanding wellness and what wellness at work really looks like. And then you see that dial into productivity and performance. And hopefully, with all this change happening in the world around us, with people realizing they want more out of their career and their lifestyle, then we realize that wellness is a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And wellness isn't just, I think it's one misconception, going back to that question too, it's not all physical. It's not, a lot of people have that misconception. And one of the cherry on top of our program is really our digital connection book that we provide at the end of the program, which the intention behind that, basically what it is, it's almost like a cookbook type of thing that is employees across the entire organization provide a little tidbit about themselves. And it's basically to build empathy within an organization, because so much of that
so
is
cool.
lost. Yeah. And that's part of wellness. That's part of, improving the culture of the organization.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're not working and you're hiding behind a screen, we've seen so many organizations where people are throwing stones and they're throwing people, it's just, they can become, stress can bleed out to other people, and they forget their empathetic skills in that we're all human. And so it's really nice to kind of know a little something special about someone that you didn't necessarily learn at the water cooler, and so it just kind of builds empathy and compassion.
Absolutely. That is so very important, because to your point, we're like super connected because of technology, but at the same time disconnected in so many ways. So I love that you're infusing that human connection, that personal side. And I will say the level of engagement that you have with the clients that you're working with and the care and attention is unlike what I've seen with other, if you get access to an app or a membership, it's not the same sort of high touch that you two are providing, which is so essential. And one thing that you said too, Alicia, about behavior change. So the core of change management is all about changing individuals' behaviors. So I hope that people are watching this video and recognizing the connection between wellness and well-being, and, which are essentially one and the same, and how that influences behavior change, and how behavior change is change management. And so how they go together. So a part of this is getting your people into a healthy, balanced state, and then implementing the projects, the programs, the transformations that need to happen. Without that, it's like pushing a boulder uphill. You can certainly do it, but it's going to be a lot more challenging and not as smooth. And the ability to move quickly and organizational agility is impacted by that. And that's difficult when things are moving so quickly. You need to be adaptive and responsive. And without that, then you might, your business will suffer. So there's a huge connection there. People, wellness, well-being, pay attention. One more question for you. And then what does, I'm just looking through my questions, want to make sure I ask some good ones. What does the C-suite need to hear to understand? And you've talked about this a little bit, but if you could just impress one more, word of wisdom for senior leaders who are thinking about wellness and well-being, but are not quite sure how to integrate it, or the value, the ROI, right? What would you impress upon them?
Definitely ROI, because that's what they love to, first of all, they love to hear that, but it's actually very true. There is a return on their investment when they're investing in their employees' well-being. But it's also really important to, a lot of times organizations try to run these programs through their HR department or through internal department. And the reason we feel it's so important to outsource that is to be able to put everybody on a level playing field, because it gives everybody the opportunity to participate. You don't need to have these cheerleaders in the HR department trying to get people to be involved in this program. They
need it too.
Participate in it as well. Exactly. So I think it's being able to create that level playing field and get rid of that hierarchy. And that's what this wellness program does altogether. It gets rid of the hierarchy. It doesn't matter. You roll out your yoga mat if you're a part-time administrative assistant, or you're the CEO of the organization. You're doing it together, and I think that's the key for that C-level to really understand that's the importance of making this program effective.
Yes. Oh, cool. I love that. And then Alicia, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll just say, I get the difference between, I'm going to pick up my phone here and, hey, guess what, guys, we're paying for this. Everyone gets access to this new really cool wellness app. And there are some great apps out there, and I'm not trying to knock them in any way. And it's like, oh, awesome. My company is paying for this, or they just gave me a year gym membership. This is so great. But that doesn't change the behavior. I'm still defaulted to how I show up to work and how I go home. So the apps that exist and the current programming that exists out there is based on the individual changing and deciding if he or she wants to change. And then we move into this format where it's like we're collectively shifting our behavior as a community, as an organization, as an entity together, whether we're using an app-based program or a curated program that's customized to the culture of your company and the goals of how you want to shift the culture of your company. So I think that's a huge difference. And that's where the fluff comes in. It's like, well, we've spent all this money buying them apps and these programs, but they're not using them.
Yep.
Right. Well, are you using them? And what are you doing to create inspiration? So
yes,
that's what we're here to do. Help you out with that.
I support that. Yes. I love it. So Exhale Wellness at Work, where can people find you, follow you, share your handles? How can people get in touch with you?
Well, exhalewellnessatwork.com is our website. And then Alicia, you've got the social handles as well, but those social handles are on our website as well. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, we're on
all
TikTok,
the things.
all the things.
We're on all the platforms. We're trying to, reach. There's no audience discrimination because wellness is for everyone. He,
Absolutely.
she, they, we're all here together to, live our best lives. And so Exhale Wellness at Work is essentially the key phrase.
Yes.
I love that. Yes. Thank you so much. I am really excited to share this video with everyone. And I know they're going to learn so much from this conversation. And hopefully it starts to, set that mindset shift around how to think about wellness at work and the importance and the power of it. So thank you, ladies, so much. And I will be in the studio, hopefully taking a class from you soon.
Yes. Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, Jessica.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, you guys. Be well.
Bye.